Yeah, you're sub only. So.
Shout out to hey, we got an Andy girl for following on Twitch. Cool. We're 9 away from another mushroom reading, and this time I'll actually eat some mushrooms, so that's gonna happen. What else we got going on? Just checking in here. Oh, we were very busy last night on Facebook. I don't know, maybe or the software just started tracking Facebook. I'm actually not sure.
That's very possible.
I'm not sure what happened there, but there's a lot of. So thank you and hello and good morning and good evening or good afternoon, whatever, whenever you're watching this, to everybody new and everyone who's been with us for the whole journey. We got another really cool lineup of stuff. We're still kind of continuing on our journey, looking at Tricksters. I wore my Trickster shirt today. Well, one of my Trickster shirts. It says "Kill Your Masters." It's Trickster, and as we'll explore in certain ways, and. The exciting thing is, timing-wise, that I don't know, that Loki show just came out. I don't know if anyone checked that out. I fell asleep watching it, so seemed cool though. I don't want to ruin. No spoilers. I'm not going to do that. There's a spoiler tag that I haven't engaged, so I will not. I won't do that. But hey, shout out to 2 people watching on Facebook. Welcome. Good morning. Thank you for the for joining us. Appreciate you hitting the follow button. Hey, and shout out to Twitch. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to check in on the chat. I'm going to keep an eye on the multi-stream chat. So whether you're checking in on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, I will be able to see your message. And yeah, I don't know what other updates I got for you. I guess we're 9 away from our new follower goal. So don't forget to tell a friend to, hey, what's up? Chris Conjurman Owens. Thanks for checking in. Love to have you here. Yeah, don't forget to... tell a friend to check us out on Twitch. Follow and sub on Twitch. We're hitting those goals. Tata NGV, welcome back. Always a pleasure. It's good to see people joining us on the daily. That's cool. Hey, if you guys haven't already checked out the Discord, we do have a Discord channel. That's where I kind of post things if people are interested in the videos and whatever cool stuff we experience. I'm posting live on Twitch there right now. So I have dropped a link to that if you go to my Twitch profile. So that's twitch.tv/HoodooMoses. If you go to my Twitch profile, there's a link to the Discord right there to the right of the video, I believe. Depends if you're on mobile. I think it's underneath. But yeah, hop in the Discord. The conversation's going nonstop there. So we're going to get started shortly. I do, as usual, have some videos. We're going to go do meditation. And, of course, we're going to offer a little prayer at the end. Good morning, Lady Stardust. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. We're excited to have you here. Oh, I don't want to start yet. Sorry. I got my another Trippy Anansi cartoon. I've only found 2 of them. So I've kind of shot my load here. But it's the end of the week. You know, Friday is going to be something... We're not going to do a 3rd day of Anansi cartoons. That would be crazy. So I think it's fine. I think I've done all right with my scheduling of Anansi cartoon deployments. And what else? I guess we also have to talk about the general topic, right? We've been talking about Tricksters. So I have Alan Watts clip on the role of the Trickster.
Hi, I'm Mike Rignetta.
Also got this guy, the Crash Course guy, with a couple more Trickster stories, because, I don't know, we got some laughs over here from him. Sounds like you guys out there thought they were pretty good. So we have some of those. There was some stuff I looked into, to be honest. I was looking for a good video to share. A good brief video, I should say. Because I found good videos. None of them were brief. I was looking for a good brief video on Heyokas, which are like sacred clown, backward medicine men, whatever, in various capacities. I will tell you that there's a lot of trash on YouTube. I mean, I scrolled through dozens, if not hundreds, of bad videos. And again, there were some good, longer ones that were actually made by Native Americans and indigenous peoples, and were not trash, but they were longer, so I didn't want to give those ones. There were a lot of like short 10-minute ones that were pure trash. So just be careful, by the way, if you guys are out there looking on YouTube for Heyoka videos. That's just a heads up. Because apparently a lot of people are, or they wouldn't be making a lot of videos about it. Here, I'll show you. I'm not even kidding. Let's see. Here, if I go Heyoka. Right? So, like, I'll show you guys the screen, just so you know what I'm talking about. Because we're waiting for folks to show up still. Let's see. That's showing the wrong thing. Let's see. If I can even get it to. I can't even. Whatever. There's just like... Apparently, like, a Heyoka is known as a type of empath. I guess an empath is a thing. I don't know anything about this world of empathy. I don't know what this is. Empath's refuge and psychology element and the 3 key elements and 10 types of empaths on Behind the Science and psychology and Cody the Unlicensed Thinker. I don't know. I don't really know. Empath Uprising is another channel that seems to be really pushing this stuff. So a lot of channels with very good YouTube presence. A lot of views, 525,000 views.
I think I know exactly why.
But it's trash, guys. Don't watch this stuff. It's trash. You heard it from me. Oh, it looks like everyone showed up. Good morning, Esoterico Isra, everyone else too. Thanks for showing up, gang. Cool. That all happened while I wasn't looking, and something just happened in the background. Nancy Baez liked. David Chen liked. Cool. Hey, that all makes the zombie run. Yeah. Like the stream. That makes me happy when that happens. Great. I was thinking of changing the graphics, but honestly, I like the zombie way too much. I don't know. All right, so we're not going to watch Heyoka videos, is fact one. Instead, let's see. Oh, here we go. I got the browser working now. So, all right, watch this. Just watch this. So, all these videos. Let me open my browser window. I mean, so this John Fire Lame Deer one's actually good. It's just not brief, right? But like, yeah, Oracle Owen. I don't know about Oracle Owen. And then this stuff, right? Like this is trash. Okay, this is trash. This is trash. All this empath stuff. I don't know about this stuff. Sorry. Let me not say it's trash. Because I actually don't know. But it's not what I mean to demonstrate. It's not anything I know about having to do anything with Heyoka. It may be very valuable personal growth information, but has nothing to do with what I'm trying to teach or illustrate about what I know of Heyoka. So it may be gold. Perhaps what I have to teach is trash, is the case. But that's not useful for me, is my point. So this guy though, this guy illustrates my point. You guys remember this guy? Cool. Here we go. Hey, good morning, by the way, to everyone who tuned in. Thanks for finding us over here. So this guy, Hermes and Loki. I don't know if you guys watched that new, as I said, that new Loki show on Disney Plus. Everyone's talking about. This dude has some good stories to tell. And Hermes, that's Mercury. That's my boy. So we're just gonna give props to everyone because it's Trickster week, and we got to cram everybody in here fast enough.
Hey there, I'm Mike Rignetta. This is Crash Course Mythology, and today we're continuing with tricksters. We're going to look at the trickster as a culture hero, meaning someone whose creativity adds to the culture of the mythological world they inhabit. We're going to focus on Europe in this episode, looking specifically at Hermes, the Greek version of Tote here, and also Loki, who in today's myth actually somehow isn't the worst. Sorta. I mean, he does disguise himself as a biting fly, so he's definitely not, like, the best. We haven't talked much about Hermes because there aren't too many myths where he's a main character. Usually he's a messenger more than a central focus. But hey, fun fact, he has a big presence in statuary. Hermes was a phallic god, and all around Greece you could find square pillars topped with a bust of his head and featuring a male member. These are called Herms and were frequently placed at crossroads. Since Hermes was also the god of travelers and roads, maybe these Herms were meant to point travelers in the right direction? Tricksters like Hermes are often associated with extreme sexual appetites and also with creativity, a connection which makes a lot of sense when we think back to our stories about the creation of the world. But instead of getting into all that, let's explore one of the most famous myths about Hermes, which begins when he was just a wee little baby trickster. Okay, so baby Hermes sneaks out of his cradle and kills a tortoise. I don't know what you were expecting. We're talking about tricksters. Anyway, he turns the tortoiseshell into a lyre, which he starts to play, inventing lyrics to accompany his music. Pretty creative for a baby. He probably went to a Montessori school. Then Hermes gets hungry, but not for milk. He wants some meat. So he runs to Pieria, where his brother Apollo keeps his sacred cattle. Hermes steals 50 cows and hides them in a nearby cave. To get them into the cave, he makes them walk backwards, so their footprints would be difficult to follow. He also invents some backwards sandals that hide his own tracks. Again, clever baby. Hermes whips up a fire, kills 2 of the cows, and roasts them, but doesn't eat them, which is kind of strange since he's supposedly so hungry. Instead, he hides the meat and cow skins in the cave, throws his sandals in the river, and covers over the fire. Then he just strolls on back to his cradle. Apollo soon learns that some of his cattle are missing, and he is furious. Despite all of Hermes' stealth efforts, Apollo figures it all out and threatens to throw him into Tartarus. Hermes defends himself, saying he's only a baby. How could he steal 50 cows? Apollo doesn't care how old his brother is, but he can't punish Hermes without some judgment from their dad. Zeus listens to Hermes' denials, but doesn't believe him, and orders the baby to bring back all those poor cows. Afterward, Hermes and Apollo make up, and they exchange gifts. Apollo gives Hermes a whip as a symbol of cattle tending, and the caduceus as a symbol of heraldry, indicating Hermes' position as messenger of the gods. Hermes gives Apollo the lyre he had invented, and this becomes Apollo's symbol as a god of music. Although many tricksters seem more human or more animal than divine, Hermes is definitely supernatural. There's obviously something pretty special about this baby, who's not only an able thief, but a smooth talker and a tortoise murderer to boot. As David Leeming observes, in this myth, Hermes has the trickster qualities of deceitfulness, trickery, childishness, amorality, humor, extreme inventiveness, and great charm. It's his inventiveness that makes him a culture hero, though. His creation of the lyre is incredibly important. It becomes Apollo's main instrument and one of the symbols of his divine attributes. It's also significant because songs are one of the ways stories like this one were passed down in the ancient Greek world. And there's also something interesting about Hermes having to kill an animal to create the lyre. Perhaps it's a reminder that creation is often the flip side of destruction, that the two sometimes require each other. Either way, in this story, Hermes' mischief is basically harmless, unless you're a cow. Or that poor tortoise. So I guess not really harmless, just harmless by like normal deity standards. And it ultimately brings about something positive for all involved. Again, except the cows and the tortoise. It also explains the origin of a mythical artifact that defines the character of the god Apollo and the Greek culture that worshipped him. For our second story, we have another myth where the trickster's mischief impacts a whole culture. As with many Norse myths, it begins and ends with Loki, who is you get it. One morning, Thor wakes up next to his beautiful wife Sif and sees that something is missing. Her beautiful blonde hair. Sif is understandably upset and she begs her husband to fix the problem. Thor has a sneaking suspicion and heads off to see Loki. At first, Loki denies doing anything, but when Thor threatens to break every bone in Loki's body, Loki admits that yes, he'd stolen Sif's hair, he'd been hitting the mead, got to thinking, wouldn't it be funny? You know, disappearing hair? Hilarious. Unsurprisingly, Thor doesn't appreciate the humor and threatens him again with a most Norse undoing. So Loki offers to fix the problem, saying that he can get Sif even better hair. Thor agrees and lets Loki venture to the land of the dwarves. What is it with tricksters and dwarves? After that Anansi story from the last episode, I have a bad feeling about this. His first stop, the Sons of Ivaldi, 3 dwarves known for their ability at the forge. Loki says that the gods of Asgard know of their great ability, but that really they're only the second best craftsmen among the dwarves, behind the brothers Brock and Atri. The Sons of Ivaldi declare that they will not be outdone and promise to make 3 treasures for the gods, one of which, Loki says, must be magical golden hair. Then, Loki goes off to see Brock and Atri. You can probably see where this is headed. He tells them about what the sons of Ivaldi are going to do, and Brock, the talker, says that he and his brother can outdo those Ivaldis, no problem. Loki bets him he can't, and Brock takes the bet, but says that if the gods like his and Atreus' treasures best, Brock gets to take Loki's head. Loki accepts. Atri, the master craftsman amongst the two brothers, tells Brock to man the bellows and to keep pumping no matter what, so the temperature of their forge remains constant. Brock keeps up his pumping for the first two treasures, despite being bitten on the hand and then the neck by a large, pesky fly, who is, of course, Loki. By the time Atri is working on the third project, Loki the fly is really beginning to worry that he might lose the bet, so he starts biting Brock's eyebrows. At one point, Brock brushes the blood from his eyes and just for a second, breaks his rhythm. When Atri finishes making the treasure, he chastises his brother for the imperfections caused by his erratic oxygenating, but says that his gift will have to do. Loki brings the Ivaldi's treasures back to Asgard. Brock brings his and his brother's. Loki reveals his treasures first, and we reveal the thought bubble to see who wins. The first treasure is Sif's new head of hair made from gold. When she puts the wig on, it fuses with her scalp and behaves like real hair. She is ecstatic. The gods are impressed. Next, Loki presents Odin with a spear, Gungnir. When thrown, it always hits its mark, useful for an old one-eyed god with suspect aim. Also, any oath sworn on Gungnir is unbreakable. Odin is pleased, but not effusive in his praise. Classic dad move. The final treasure is for Freyr, brother of Freya, who we've discussed in the past. This treasure looks like a handkerchief, but when unfolded, it becomes Skithblathnir, a magic boat big enough to carry all of the Aesir, and it'll always have a fair wind. Pretty great for a seagoing people. Loki is pleased, but Brock is still confident that his gifts will be better. First, he unveils a golden bristled boar, Gulenbursti. It glows in the dark, pulls Freyr's chariot, runs over water, and goes faster than any horse. Freyr is pleased, but Loki says it's nothing compared to a folding ship, which is just, come on. It's a glowing chariot boar. The next gift is a golden armband called Draupnir, which Odin wears. Draupnir multiplies itself. Every night, 8 identical rings drip from it, greatly enriching its owner. Why gods need gold is a bit beyond me, frankly, but hey, Odin, psyched. The last gift is Atri's third project, the one erratically oxygenated. It's a hammer. And even Brock has to admit that the handle is a little too short, but that doesn't really matter once Thor gets his hands on it. This is Mjolnir, an unbreakable hammer. It always hits its mark and always comes back to the hand that throws it, and for Thor, it's love at first sight. The rest of the Aesir agree, because with Mjolnir, Thor will always be able to protect them from giants. The Aesir announce that Brock and Atri's gifts are the best, and they're all happy, except for Loki, who totally dunked on himself. Thanks, Thought Bubble. Now that he's lost the bet, Loki starts sweating and making excuses to Brock, but Brock only pulls out his knife and starts talking about all the stuff he and his brother are gonna make out of Loki's head. Increasingly desperate, Loki starts looking to the other gods for help, but no one's buying it. A bet's a bet, and Loki lost, even after cheating. Loki thinks quick. He's got one more trick up his sleeve. Loki explains that yes, Brock does have a right to his head, but that the bet didn't include any part of his neck. So he's welcome to the head, but only if he can get it without cutting the neck. Brock calls shenanigans and appeals directly to Odin, but in perhaps the earliest example of getting off on a technicality, the one-eyed Allfather agrees with Loki, and Brock has to go home with his own head in his hands instead of Loki's. Classic trickster stories like these often involve serious transgressions against society. In this case, it's stealing, and not just from humans, but from other gods. Neither Loki nor Hermes has a good reason for their thefts either. In fact, their excuses are downright immature. I was drunk, and I'm a baby. Though, to be fair, both do end up presenting important gifts to their fellow gods, ones that become foundations of the stories told about them for millennia. Loki, in particular, shows us that while tricksters often get away with their tricks, the result is not always a foregone conclusion. Despite his best efforts, Loki is set to pay a stiff price for stealing Sif's hair, first at Thor's hands, and then at Brock's. In both cases, it's only his wit that saves him. Like Anansi, Loki can talk his way out of a pickle, and in this way provide a model for human behavior that other gods who rely on their supernatural gifts simply can't. Most of us don't have super strength or magic hammers, but we all have brains and the ability to solve problems, even if we're the ones who made those problems for ourselves in the first place. Just don't go trying to grift any rubes. You might not get lucky like Loki, and you could end up losing a little bit too much off the top. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Check out our Crash Course Mythology.
I hope you guys like those ones. I heard a couple things happen in the background. Misery Pimp's hosting. Sweet. That's dope. David Chen, thanks for the sub on YouTube. Yeah, I guess you guys are digging it. So I thought that one was a good laugh. We'll go and continue. The next one in that series, that Trickster series with the same dude, is Coyote and Raven. And I actually have no idea if it's one of the same Coyote stories we heard. I don't think so. So hopefully this one has one of my favorites. And then from here, Alan Watts, and then another Anansi story. And then we can talk Tricksters a little. I think then you guys will be qualified Trickster neophytes at that point. So, okay, Coyote and Raven, same dude.
Course Mythology, and today we're finishing up our series on trickster stories by looking at two of the most famous and popular tricksters of them all, Coyote and Raven. There are many individual Native American mythological traditions from different tribes and in different regions, and stories about coyotes and ravens as grand tricksters pop up in tales across the whole continent. In many locations, these animals would have been known for making off with livestock or picking at the bodies of dead animals. While scavenging isn't exactly clever in the way tricksters often are, it is sort of devious, which explains the wealth of trickster myths about these two figures.
What dude is missing here is that it's opportunistic. That's what tricksters have in common. I shall continue. I shall allow him to continue, pardon me.
We're going to focus on a few of the best of them, and along the way, we'll see that sometimes playing a few tricks can really put a twinkle in your eye, or make it pink. Before I get into the specific myths, I should explain something about the content and context of some of these Coyote and Raven stories. We've already mentioned that in many Native American myths, the line between the human world and the animal world is blurry. Humans live alongside mythological animals that help create the world and establish important rituals. This handling of mythological animals is distinct from, say, the pantheon of gods and monsters that we see in Norse, Greek, or Egyptian traditions. Those traditions have myths about animals, it's true, but they aren't the stars of the show in the way that they are in Native American myths. I also just want to say up front that the myths we're going to discuss aren't exactly G-rated. Some scholars have pointed out that many Native American myths feature particularly frank discussions of sexy time and the organs that are used to accomplish it. Toad, buddy, there's no need to blush. And also, they talk a lot about the elimination of...
Toad definitely wouldn't blush.
Bodily wastes. So long story short, we're going to talk about poop. One day, Coyote is out walking and he sees some tasty-looking bright red rose hips. He's about to gobble them up when those rose hips, which can talk, BT dubs, warn Coyote that if gobbled, they're going to give him horrible flatulence. But Coyote doesn't listen.
This is my favorite Coyote story.
And so, chomp! And wouldn't you know it, soon Coyote is stumbling around, doubled over in pain from a rather intense and alarming buildup of gas. At about this time, Coyote happens across two crows picking over a dead buffalo. Devising a plan, Coyote asks if they want to play a game. Which, I mean, of course they do. Who doesn't love a game? Coyote proposes a contest to see who can defecate from one side of the buffalo to the other. Whoever is able to launch their poop over the buffalo gets to keep it and eat it. The buffalo, I mean, not the poop. I'm not sure who gets that. Anyway, the crows think that this is disgusting. And hey, samesies, but Coyote is very persuasive, and the contest begins. One of the crows goes first. He turns around and he poops as hard as he can, but only manages to poop shoot halfway. Coyote, now fit to burst with rose hips gas, turns around, relaxes, and let's just say he wins the contest easily. The crows cannot believe their eyes, and they beg Coyote to let them have some of the buffalo meat. In an uncharacteristic bit of trickster compassion, Coyote is no Anansi, he agrees to give them the fat around the eye sockets and the joints and the ribs. Stan, maybe cancel my lunch order? Okay, according to Leonard and McClure, the moral of the story is some are not honest in playing games and trick others. One must watch out for these people, for they start trouble. I might say the moral is also don't eat rose hips, don't poop competitively, but maybe even with gastrointestinal crisis, there can be found great opportunity, at least if you have your tricky cap on. Toad, is that your tricky cap? Looks good. This story also shows an important similarity Coyote shares with the tricksters of other mythological traditions. He is unable to resist giving.
He didn't tell the whole story. He ended that story early. I'll find the whole story and read it to you guys tomorrow because, yeah, that's the prelude to my favorite Coyote story. That's not my favorite Coyote story.
Into his outsized hedonistic desires. Remember hungry Hermes and greedy Anansi? The entire poop shot put is a result of Coyote munching down on tasty-looking rose hips, even though he knows it's a bad idea. Not all of Coyote's desires are quite so digestion-oriented, of course. There are a number of stories that involve his sexual appetites. And in many Native American stories, the trickster's desire for sex is interpreted as a mirror for the rest of humanity, a recognition that most of us have similar drives. As our old friends Leonard and McClure put it, the Native Americans' trickster reminds us like no other that humans, for all their pretensions to intellectual and spiritual culture, and for all their moments of bravery, altruism, and generosity, are nevertheless animals ruled by appetites and impulses that make them equally capable of cowardice, selfishness, and cruelty. We're not going to focus on those sexy stories, though. This is a family-friendly YouTube series. Well, except for all the death and the incest and the castration. Okay, you know what? Let's just move on. Coyote, like other tricksters, is creative and on occasion even helpful. In one story from the Wasco people of the Pacific Northwest, Coyote even helps place stars in the sky. Let's go to the thought bubble. One day, Coyote sees several of his wolf buddies looking up at the sky, so he asks what they're looking at. Nothing, they tell him. The next night, he sees them looking up at the sky again and asks again. Finally, the youngest wolf says, let's tell him. He won't do anything, which, have they not met Coyote? The wolves tell him they're watching two mysterious animals up in the sky. Ever curious? Coyote suggests, let's go hang out with them. Coyote starts shooting arrows into the sky, and his aim is so good that each arrow hits the last one, creating a ladder of arrows from earth to sky. Coyote and the wolves climb up the arrow ladder, which takes many days and nights, but when they finally reach their destination, they find that the two animals are grizzly bears. Coyote warns the wolves to not go near the bears, but the two youngest wolves walk over and sit down. Then the two next youngest wolves do the same. Finally, seeing that it's safe, the oldest wolf goes over and takes a seat. I guess sky bears are pretty chill. Admiring the wolves and the bears, Coyote says, I think I'll leave it that way for everyone to see. Then, when people look at them in the sky, they will say, there's a story about that picture, and they will tell a story about me. So Coyote leaves, taking the arrows with him as he returns to Earth. And from there, he admires his handiwork, which you can still see today. 4 wolves make up the handle of the Big Dipper. The youngest 2 wolves and the bears make up its bowl. So I guess Coyote was right. Here we are, telling his story. Thanks, Thought Bubble. This story is a great example of the trickster as creator. The wolves were probably pretty unhappy about being stranded in the sky with bears, but people sure do love constellations. In this story, there's also something we haven't really discussed about tricksters, or myths generally: the desire to be remembered. Coyote leaves no doubt. When he finishes stranding those wolves, he calls to Meadowlark and says, my brother, when I am gone, tell everyone that when they look up into the sky and see the stars arranged this way, that I was the one who did that. That is my work. Here at Crash Course, we define myths as stories that persist through time. In our forthcoming episodes about heroes, we'll see that the desire for fame, to be remembered through timeless tales, often motivates heroic deeds. We could tell stories about Coyote all day, but there's another famous trickster in Native American myths, Raven. No, not that Raven. Not that one either. Come on, yeah, that one. Bingo, you got it. Raven stories are common with the Native American peoples of the Pacific Northwest, including Canada and Alaska. This one was recorded in English at Sitka, a small city in Alaska. It starts like so. Have you ever wondered why ravens are black? A very long time ago, Raven, the trickster, was actually stark white. And one day, he's journeying to visit his brother-in-law, Petrel, the seabird, who has an everlasting spring of water. At the time, there wasn't any water to drink because Petrel kept his spring for himself and he wouldn't share it. So Raven comes to Petrel and he tells him about all of the marvelous things that he's seen throughout the world, trying to get Petrel to leave his home so that Raven can steal some of his water. But Petrel doesn't trust Raven, which is maybe a good call, and he won't budge. When the night falls, Raven and Petrel go to bed. Once Raven is sure Petrel is asleep, he creeps outside and finds some dog poo. Yeah, it's gonna be that kind of story. He sneaks back in and he spreads the poo all over Petrel's clothing. And the next morning, Raven wakes Petrel up by crying, wake up, brother-in-law, look what you've done to your clothes. And just real quick aside here, I wanna point out that we're super unsure about what bird clothes are. Pants? A dickie maybe? Wait, are these birds with arms? Anyway, Petrel goes outside to clean himself up and Raven goes over to the spring, uncovers it, and begins to drink. Just as Raven has slurped up almost all of the water, Petrel returns, realizes he's been tricked, and angrily chases Raven away. Raven flies through the smoke hole in Petrel's house with the water in his mouth, and Petrel calls out to his spirits to catch him. As Raven is caught by the spirits, Petrel throws pitchwood onto his fire to make the smoke turn black. While Raven struggles to get away, the black smoke soaks into his feathers, and I bet you can see where this is headed. Now turned black, Raven struggles free without spilling a single drop of water. But as he's flying, he tries to brush off some of the char and spills some water over Nass, making up the Nass River. He keeps flying and keeps fidgeting and keeps spilling water over Stikine, Taku, Chilkat, and all the other rivers. Even the small drops become creeks. So after just one poo-stained trick, the world now has water, and Raven has the pitch black feathers that we know today. As you can see, Raven and Coyote definitely spend their time getting up to no good. Sometimes their tricks are premeditated, but other times it's a matter of circumstance, often poop-related circumstance. And this reminds us that just because you're powerful, supernatural even, that doesn't mean that you can escape being an animal with all of the confusion and danger and bodily functions that entails. This sort of thing reiterates the specific relationship in Native American culture between humans and the natural environment. As Thury and Davini put it, according to Native American mythology, all of nature participates in creation as keepers of the earth, resulting in a symbiotic relationship between humans and their environment. So even though Raven and Coyote pull tricks that might seem outrageous and a little gross, it's hard to consider them evil or detrimental to society, especially when their tricks end up creating things that the rest of us get to enjoy. Thanks for watching.
So tomorrow I'll tell the rest of that Coyote story, and I will also tell a Coyote story that's an interesting parallel to that particular Raven story. It's why Coyote is brown. Because before that, he got the color, I think, of a blue jay. That was the one he wanted. He got to pick his color. Well, he figured out how to choose his color. He basically trades for stuff. He's very good at conjuring. All right, Alan Watts on the role of the Trickster, and then another Anansi, and then we will proceed. But, so if you guys want to start thinking about meditations, now's a good time. I feel like Dad on a car trip. Right? Start thinking about what you want for lunch. No, if you want to start thinking about meditations, which ones you want, be prepared to shout them out. Let me take a look at the chat. I haven't checked it out in a while. You guys are being kind of quiet. Oh, let's see. You guys are talking. What's Dan Chen saying? The Dipper is significant in Taoism, and the Taoist priest paced what was known as the 7 Dipper steps.
And so finally we come to the last consideration, which is the question, in what way and by what means can an individual who is under the impression that he is a separate individual limited by and enclosed in his bag of skin, how can such a person effectively realize that he is deep down the universal self, the Brahman? This, of course, is a curious question. It proposes a journey to the place where you already are. Now, it's true that you may not know that you are there, but you are. And if you take a journey to the place where you are, you will visit many other places than the place where you are, and perhaps when you find through some long experience that all the places you go to are not the place you wanted to find, it may occur to you that you were already there in the beginning. And that is the Dharma, or method, as I translated that word, which all gurus, teachers of spiritual development, use fundamentally. They are all of them tricksters, but in the most beneficent sense of the word trickster. Why trickster? Because, do you know, it's terribly difficult, in fact it's impossible, to surprise yourself on purpose. And yet, to be surprised is a great thing. But you can't plan a surprise for yourself. Somebody else can do it for you. And that is why so often a guru or teacher is necessary in this process. But let me say right from the start that a guru, there are many kinds of gurus. First of all, among human gurus, there are square gurus and there are beat gurus. There are gurus like, well, let's say a great Zen master today.
I'm technically a beat guru, I believe.
Hey, let's take Oda Roshi at Daitokuji, who is a square guru and a very good one. But you go through regular channels. Then there is a guru like Mr. Gurdjieff, who is a rascal guru, who leads you in by means that are very, very strange indeed. Then there are gurus that are not people. The gurus may be situations, a certain kind of problem or encounter. Even a book can to some extent be a guru. A friend can be a guru. I've often thought of writing a story about a man who is some sort of guru seeker and potential yogi, who goes one day into an automat and sits down at a table where there is another fellow, and he sort of thinks that this man looks wise, and he projects onto him the idea that he is a guru. And he says, "I feel there's something special about you." And the man says, "Oh, really? Really, actually, there's nothing special about me. I happen to be an insurance salesman." And this other fellow says, "Isn't that fascinating how modest he is?" And then I want to develop this story step by step. They keep meeting each other because they both eat at the same automat regularly for lunch. And although the fellow really is an insurance salesman and doesn't know a thing about these things, it in the end results in the enlightenment of the person who projected this image upon him. So there are, as I say, many kinds of guru. But the problem of the guru is to show the inquirer in some effective way that he already has what he's looking for.
All right, now you guys have waited for it. You've been patient.
The only thing you need to know to
hold
understand
on.
the deepest metaphysical secret.
We don't need this. But you guys have waited. You've waited patiently. You're ready for the Anansi story. I'm not going to delay this any longer. Here you go. Wait. Chris, do you eat those mushrooms? Because if you are, you're the only one who's actually ready for what's about to happen. Everyone else, you need to get on Chris's level if you're trying to get here.
Folklore, a people's legends, traditional stories, as in Africa. Folklore transforms. It makes the ordinary into the magical. These stories give beauty to the ways of man. They give him dignity. They express the joy of life. Folklore, mythology, these prepare man for adult life. They place him within his culture. With oral traditions, retold through generations, the social group maintains its continuity, handing down its culture. Here is a long-established culture, the Ashanti, in West Africa, in the country of Ghana. Here is a green stronghold of dense rainforests between the ocean and the desert. The home of the Ashanti people protects its oral traditions. The Ashanti have had a federation, a highly organized society for over 400 years. Still today, as long ago, the Ashanti are superb artisans, excellent in fine metalwork, weavers of beautiful silk fabric. In this fabric, they weave the rich symbols of their art and folklore. Sun, moon, creation, universe, the web of the cosmos, and Anansi, the spider. Anansi is a folk hero for the Ashanti. This funny fellow is a rogue, a wise and lovable trickster. Shrewd and cunning folk hero, Anansi triumphs over larger foes. A spider with human qualities, Anansi is a mischief maker. He tumbles into many troubles. Here is one of his adventures.
Chris, I told you this is totally your level. I'm dropping this link in the Discord if you guys want the link. I'll link both of them, both the Anansi cartoons.
Anansi, he is spider to the Ashanti people. In Ashanti land, people love this story of Kwaku Anansi. Time was Anansi had 6 sons. One son was called Sea Trouble. Sea Trouble had the gift of seeing trouble a long way off. Next son was Road Builder. Thirsty son was River Drinker. Another son was Game Skinner. Next son was Stone Thrower. And last of sons was Cushion. He was very soft. All good sons of Anansi. One time, Anansi went a long way, far from home. He got lost. He fell into trouble. Father is in danger. Sea trouble. He knew it quickly. He told those other sons. Road builder's son said, "Follow me." Off he went, making a road. They went fast, those 6 brothers, gone to help Anansi. Where is father now? The fish has swallowed him. River drinker took a big drink. No more river. Then Game Skinner helped Father Anansi. More trouble came right then. It was Falcon took Anansi up in the sky. Quick now, stone thrower. Cushion ran to help father. Very soft, Anansi came down. They were very happy, that spider family. All home again. That night, Kwaku Anansi saw a thing in the forest. What is this? A great globe of light? Oh, mysterious and beautiful. I shall give this to my son, said Anansi, to the son who rescued me. But which son of 6? Which deserves this prize? Nyame, can you help me? Oh, Nyame. For Ashanti people, Nyame is the god of all things. Anansi asked this of Nyame. Please hold the beautiful globe of light until I know which son should have it for his own. And so they tried to decide which son deserved the prize. They tried, but they could not decide. Nyame saw this. God of all things, he took the beautiful white light up into the sky. He keeps it there for all to see. It is still there. It will always be there. It is there tonight.
So here we see, last time we saw more of Anansi's trickery, but nonetheless it's the same character, right? And here we see, just like Coyote in the story we just heard, or sorry, Raven, he put the stars in the sky, right? With the Trickster once again is credited with kind of creating this thing that to this day endows significance and purpose and all that stuff to us.
Coyote with stars in the sky.
Yeah, Coyote, sorry. Oh, right. Raven, we learned how he got his color. That's right.
And the rivers.
And where we got rivers from, right? And so similar to that one too, right? It's the gifts. So, with that said, that's a nice one. I hope to transition into meditation. That was good, right? Let me drop that link right now. And then I'll find the other one and drop that in the Discord too. If you guys want to get in on this Discord, by the way, if you're not in on here, you can just go to twitch.tv, Hoodoo Moses, and then it'll be either right under or right next to. It's right there somewhere. All right.
I'm gonna fall asleep.
You're going to fall asleep in meditation?
I might.
Don't. That's unacceptable. Attention. You guys are... What do you think? Should we let Solomon fall asleep? I don't think so.
I'm not gonna try, obviously.
Well, then we're going to use a meditation that will not allow you to fall asleep.
Okay.
Breath counting. Sorry, this one's not as fun. You can blame Solomon if you don't want this.
You think it's? I think
Yes.
it's funny that you think that
Yes,
I'm gonna
we
fall
are a
asleep
community.
doing
You
that.
can't fall asleep during breath counting.
Alright.
You have to have extreme focus. Definitely there are people who have not joined us for this meditation before, so this one's really good. It's kind of the first meditation you get in Zen. Oh, I want to share one more video. Snap. Do we have time for that? Are you guys going to be mad if we watch another video? I feel like you won't be. I feel like you definitely won't be, but I would need to make sure. Because what I have for you, YouTube, what I have for you is... crazy wisdom. So this is like we're not gonna watch the full documentary. Let's see, trailer first thing. How long is this? That's long. I'll watch this little one. So Naropa is the school I went to. I was exposed to a lot of his students. I was exposed to a lot of his teachings. Yeah, I'll just play this one. I don't know what this is going to be like. We'll see. But kind of just like a living embodiment of the tricksterism. There is like a full movie. It's an hour and a half long. Check it out if you want.
This world does need your help so badly, very badly. And so on behalf of this world, I would like to request you to come and do something about it.
He said, the job of a teacher is to insult you, to insult the ego.
Supposing if you become enlightened, then what? You are about to become egomaniac.
He said, just study the Dharma, which is the truth of trusting who you are. That has nothing to do with religion.
Almost wherever Trigger Trumpa stepped in America, Tibetan Buddhist centers sprang up.
Someone asked him to talk about aggression in America. He said, I want to talk about the aggression in this room.
He didn't hide his drinking. He didn't hide his sexuality. Lots of his students were his lovers, and that was known.
After being married to him for 17 years, I would still sometimes lie in bed next to him and look at him and thinking, I have no idea who you are.
People say to me, how could an enlightened person do that? I do not know.
So yeah, you should check out the movie. It's there's a story that was handed down from some of my... Oh, you guys didn't even see that. I didn't even show it to you. You just heard it. That's disappointing. There's nothing really to look at, though. It's just a montage. There's a story that's handed down, though, from his students about... They had some gathering. And so he was like an infamous drunk. He drove a car into a store in Scotland or something. Like through the plate glass window of a store or something. So he was at some, I don't know, gathering of students or whatever, and was completely shit-faced. And he was too wasted to walk, and they were like carrying him back to his cottage or whatever. And the student, the one who's telling the story, was like, man, how the fuck am I like following this guy? Like, this guy's a mess. I'm like, how can I believe he's enlightened? And that moment, Rinpoche looked at him and said, and what makes you so perfect? And that was kind of the, he didn't say it out loud. So it was a remarkable moment that is handed down to this day. And I hand it to you guys. Okay, let's meditate. We're going to keep Solomon awake with breath counting. I apologize for the few of you who signed off. Actually, no, I'm going to take a wisdom from Rinpoche. Sorry for the cowards who signed off. The brave ones, hang in there. Sit comfortably. Upright spine as usual. Kind of sit up on your sit bones, as we call them. If you're sitting in a chair like a normal human being, keep your feet flat on the ground. If you're sitting on the ground like a hippie, and whatever, take your shoes off or whatever, you can sit with your legs crossed. We can sometimes talk about the difference between legs crossed, legs separated, relative advantages of each. The legs crossed is to give your nervous system a singular line of focus, especially in the lotus position, that very interlaced position where you would end up doing this with your feet kind of on top. And while you're opening your hips, and that's good for many things. The sitting upright, though, if you're going to sit upright, you might as well make your feet flat on the ground and head straight to heaven, because if you sit cross-legged in a chair, you're not going to have good posture for meditation. That's basically what it comes down to. Yeah. All right, so sit upright comfortably, hands on your lap, either palms up or down. Experiment with that if you haven't before, maybe. Try the other one, see if there's a difference for you. I don't know. It's you. How am I going to know? You can find out, though. I'd be curious if I was you. So palms up or down. Eyes can be closed for this. And just breathe deeply into sort of around your navel. 2 inches above your navel. Or below your navel, excuse me. So we're breathing into a point deep below the navel. And the trick here now is to bring your attention to your breath and count. Before we start counting, though, feel free to let me know in chat if for some reason you're doing this and you're like, I don't know what he's talking about as far as sit this way or breathe this way or whatever. I had a lot of that when I was learning meditation, and I was like shy and foolish and did not ask, and so I remained being shy and foolish for a long time. But eventually I asked, and I got a lot of answers. So if you ask, I'm happy to share those answers with you. So that's what I got for you. That said, sit upright, sit comfortably, feet flat on the ground, or in your floor posture. Breathe 2 inches below your navel, and then just exhale. And what I need you to do here is what you need you to do here more than me, is just focus on that breath and start counting for your whole breath in and your whole breath out. Count that. That's 1 for the whole cycle. And don't think of anything else. If another thought enters your mind, you can just let it flow right through. Don't attach to it. If you find that difficult, it may help to just picture a river, and any thought that comes in your mind will just be something in the river, and it'll flow right away. But just focus, keep your mind singularly focused on that count. And after breath 1, you'll go to 2, and 3, and continue to 9. And once you get to 9, start back at 1. That's what keeps you honest. You can't fall too deeply into a trance, because if you do, you'll just keep, well, either you'll stop counting when you fall asleep, like this guy over here, or you'll just fall in, you'll count habitually. Your mind knows how the sequence goes, so it'll just run. It'll go 11, 12, 13, you know. You have to stay focused to bring it back to 1. So just 1 through 9. How you focus That's up to you. Some people just focus on the idea. They may picture one thing, one spot of light, a Roman numeral 1. Some people will picture the Arabic, the number 1, the Arabic numeral 1. Some people will, and then of course increase that to 2 and 3, etc., etc. Some people will just think of the sound of the word. But either way, the idea is just focus on that concept of that number iteratively. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 through your breaths back to 1. Don't hit 10. If you hit 10, that's fine. If you find yourself going over, that's fine. Just go back to 1. If you find you skipped a number, if you lost your place, whatever, that's fine. Just as soon as you notice, start back at 1. Don't breathe hard. Breathe comfortably. Just pay attention to your breath and count. I'm going to go ahead and set a timer for 10 minutes. This is going to be a fun one for first timers. I saw a couple people jumped out. It's okay. Not everyone wants to meditate. I get that. I'll put up something cool. I'm not going to put on any theta waves. I will turn off my mic for this. I don't really like using music for it. You should just work with the stillness in the room. I'll find a cool meditation visualization video. I don't know, is that what I'm talking about? No, visualization is not the word. Meditation, I don't know, animation, computer generated video. Yeah, I don't really know. Cool. There we go. Exactly what I'm looking for. The internet does come through. Once in a while, the internet comes through. An animated work that turns your flat panel TV into the painting on an electric canvas. Perfect. It's 8 minutes, which is the only part of it that's not ideal. So maybe we'll just do this for 8 minutes. If you guys want something to stare at this. You don't have to stare at me. Watch. Boop. There you go. I grant you all that. I am going to meditate, though. I'm also going to mute this thing and mute my mic, so we're going to be dead air. What should I do? Should I put on a sound?
Does this have any sound?
I'm sure this has some sound, but I don't trust it.
Let's sample.
Let's see. It's an animated art DVD. I'll tell you that much. Oh, maybe it has no sound. Phenomenal. Perfect. Exactly what I need. Let me get some... I know what I'll get for sound. I got this, you guys. Don't worry. YouTube. Meditation. Flute. Yeah. I don't know if I want this Baba right here. I'll be honest. I'm skeptical of all this hippie stuff. We're going to go with just some tranquil Japanese flute. Yeah, Zen meditation music. Here we go. Equally cheesy, but there you go, guys. I got you. I got you. Now you can picture everything you need to. So go ahead and... This is actually going to make it harder because it's very relaxing. No, we can't do this. We can't do this. This is not what we want. I had my suspicions. This is correct. This is correct. Pardon me, everybody. I apologize for my rookie YouTube there. That shit was very beginner. My bad. You guys deserve better than that, and I won't do it again. Now then. 10 minutes I'll set the timer for. I'll check in with you guys then. So that was 10 minutes for you. How'd you guys... Who sat with... a bunch of people sat there and watched me meditate. That was pretty crazy. Or listened to that or watched that thing. Who was watching that thing? Was that video cool? My eyes were closed, so I don't know. I don't know if anyone was chilling and watching that. Hopefully that meditation was effective for you. Did anyone else have a hard time with it? I had a very hard time with it today. I think probably because of the music.
I got very off track.
Yeah, that's... we do it in silence. I could pretty easily do cycles, I maybe completed 4 cycles that whole time. Spider Story came up in his meditation. That's sick, but not for that meditation, buddy. The goal is focus, just the number. Or was that like your symbol set, you mean? That's cool. I guess that's pretty cool.
That's cool.
That's cool. Yeah, so NyQuil, I agree. Once I got into it, I found it again. And I was like, those are the old patterns once it became habitual. But I first dove into it and I was like, well, let me just try doing it with numbers. I haven't done it with a lot. I mean, that's also, it's good to make yourself uncomfortable with meditation. If you find that like, oh, it's easy for me to do that. I do that automatically. At least, especially with these. Cool, do it another way. If you always do, symbols or dots or whatever, do Roman numerals or do numbers or do just the word of the number or whatever. Just mix it up. It's good to keep you fresh, just like with workouts. But yeah, that one was challenging with the music. The music was dope, but it was challenging. Lost count. Yeah, I knew he lost count. It's okay. That's all right. That's why it's called practice. It's meditation practice. I've never heard of anyone who was meditation perfect. Even the teachers of the teachers. Yep, exactly. Yeah. Part of it is losing count and starting at 1 and saying all good. Exactly. That's part of the practice, right? That's because that's all life is just counting in circles and breathing. And sometimes you lose track and you have to start from 1, and that's okay, whatever. It's practice. Cool, guys. Shall we pray? I think we shall.
Yeah.
So maybe some first timers joining us. I don't know who's what, who, what, where. It doesn't show me who's who. But if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. First of all, second of all, we'd like to pray kind of in this formation. You might think of yourself as a big X. If you're in public watching this, and this would be an absurd thing to do, that's cool. Just do one of these. Take up a lot of space, as much space as possible. I like this more. My arms get tired if I do this one. Excuse me, especially as I'm like feeling the prayer. So why do we do this? For those who may have missed it, it's because. Oh yeah, 111. Thank you to Dan Chen. Thank you for catching that. To those who, but now we got another viewer too. So to those who may have missed it, first, because again, this is the position our ancestors prayed in. Second, because we spend a lot of our time in the day doing this. So probably good to stretch out that cervical spine or whatever. 3, we learned that being big, taking up a lot of space, even like this, power posing like this, whatever, for 2 minutes a day dramatically increases your testosterone and lowers your cortisol levels. So that's good. That's good, makes us all happier. So, with that said, pick your power pose, pick your big position, take up a lot of space, be fully present, engage. And with that, let's take a deep breath into our center. And start by acknowledging that we opened our eyes today, that we got out of bed today, that we're here breathing, that our bodies are working and doing things, our hearts are beating without us thinking about them, our stomachs are digesting without us thinking about them, our livers and our kidneys are functioning, we're eliminating waste, we're filtering all the dangerous stuff we put into ourselves, our bodies are healing themselves, regenerating themselves, new young living cells are being created throughout our bodies, old ones are being taken away, anything that doesn't really serve us in our bodies is being broken down and cleaned out, so that new healthy stuff can grow there. And all that's happening all that's happening within us. We're given the mind to understand all this, to know that morning's a time to work, that if we labor and act under the light of the day and the light of sun, that we'll produce more, acting in accord with plants in that way, with animals in that way. We can be grateful for all the knowledge that comes subsequent to that, to all the technology we have. Clothing, shelter, transportation, cooked food, internet, Twitch, language, all these things that were gifts given to us that we did nothing for. We're born with them. Literally born with them. That's our birthright, our inheritance, our inborn, innate gifts. All this. The fact that we can understand it all with capacity, make sense of it, put it together in novel ways. These are all gifts that we can be deeply grateful for. And take a moment to actually feel the gratitude, the burden of gratitude, the weight and the humility of that gratitude. Let that be expressed in your heart. Because as we truly accept these gifts, not just acknowledge them, not just give them lip service, but truly take them into ourselves, know that we need them and they make us better, and that they are of something greater than us. We can feel this profound gratitude. And when we're grateful to that thing, those things, that chain of things that gave us all these gifts, we come into communion with it, with them. And in that place of communion, we can make our requests because we become synchronized with them. We come on the same wavelength as them. And so take this time now to come into synchronization with those sources and make your requests of them. I request continued synchronization, continued empowerment, continued inspiration. I request that the roads be open and cleared for us as we move in harmony with our way. I request the wisdom and humility to accept the things that we don't know when they're shown to us and given to us, and to change the things that we do know when we learn more about them. I request that we continue on this journey every day until our days are done. And in that, come to our own reconciliations. I request that we remain in connection with these higher sources, able to request their blessings. And in turn, that we grant their blessings to them, our blessings to them. Let's grant our blessings to those sources. Let us take the power within ourselves and project it outwards to everything that is given to us, to each other because we have received from each other, to our families, our parents, our ancestors, our communities, to the planet itself, every species on it that makes up this delicate web of life, to the greater forces that govern this planet, the forces even greater that govern the planets, the solar system, and beyond, to the great creator of all of that, the first cause, the primary one. Let's give our blessings and our gratitude, our acknowledgement, and our humble respects. And let's say, give us the rest of what you have. Let us continue our journey. If there are people that we need to be connected with, make those connections. If there are inspirations that we need to receive, let us receive them clearly. Let us understand them. And may we be blessed to share them with one another. If there's guidance or direction that we need, give us clear signs and let us know immediately in our hearts when we see those signs. Give us that certainty, give us that strength of faith in what we're asking for. And with that, again, we bless you, we laud you, we extol you. We thank you for another day as we move forth. And let us all say, Amen. Hey, everybody. Wow, we picked up a lot of viewers for that. That was cool. I asked to be connected with people. You see that? It's happening in real time. Our viewership went up by like 4 while that happened. Thank you all for tuning in once again, for learning with us, meditating with us, praying with us. Of course, we do this every weekday, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time, noon Eastern Standard Time. That'll be 11 Central Time. I don't know for international folks. Help me out, and I will let you know once I know. Again, if you want to check out the videos that I posted, those are in our Discord. You can find those on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/HoodooMoses. While you're there, please give me a follow. Click that follow button. We are 9 follows away from our next goal, which ends in 4 days. I think we can get there. We've certainly come a long way. Help me out with that. Also, while you're there, if you have Amazon Prime, go ahead and give me a Prime subscription. Click that subscribe button, and when you're on there, you have the option to use a Prime subscription. If you're an Amazon Prime member, it costs you $0.00. Actually puts some money in the Temple's bank account and helps us keep operating and offering this stuff for you and reaching out to people like you who we can bring into the circle. Anyway, with that said, I hope everyone has a wonderful Thursday. I bless you. I thank you for coming here. I love each and every one of you.